Hello everyone and welcome back to the Brightworks and another match of Beyond All Reason. Today we're taking a look at a match that was played recently on Sundrance version 1.2. It's an interesting map with some interesting hills, some interesting choke points, and some interesting spawn positions. And right up here on the front line is our blue team Armada leader, a commander that goes by the name of Regeki, coming in at 50 true skill. My goodness, at the tippy top of the leaderboards here. Gonna be showing us exactly what he's got. Now, all the way on the other side of the map, a commander well known for their free-for-all play, but certainly known to crackheads in the 8v8 as well. A Cortex commander who's AFK and goes by the name of Stardom. Uncharacteristic AFK moment right there from Stardom. Must have been looking at something else or distracted off screen, maybe taking a sip of the water or something. Stardom here gonna be showing us what they've got as a Cortex commander going into bots. Already looking at the lineup over here on the right-hand side of this match, and it's gonna be a good one. I can virtually guarantee it. We've got 8D, Oroani, we've got Southie, we've got God Official, we've got Stardom. I haven't heard of Pink General. Maybe that's a name change from somebody else. Most of the top, sometimes they'll change their profile names, but they pretty much are locked into their OS values, so sometimes you can deductively figure it out. But anyways, I'm very curious to see what's going to happen. Now, the other interesting thing about this map that I notice immediately is that our blue and red players are essentially on the same line as each other. So what that should mean is that rather than a yin-yang match where one side is an overwhelming victory and the other side is a overwhelming victory for the other team, we're gonna have a full-headed clash, a broad-headed clash right here between some of the best. And then likewise over here, the second best, our yellow commander, going up our second best in green. So we're basically evenly matched across the entire board of this playing field here. Should mean we're in for a really balanced and a really fun match indeed. Sometimes you get those games where all the good players are stacked on one side of the map, and you just know that that is essentially just a survive until you thrive sort of a game right there for everybody on the other team on the other side of the map. Definitely an interesting matchup, but this is one that we don't get to see all too often. I'm excited to see it. McDuddle here going for a constructor for his backliner friend. I believe it's the air player who wanted one. Yeah, that was Streed right there, requesting a constructor, almost losing it to a bunch of ticks coming across the map right now. Nicely done by McDuddle to try and protect all that, but of course this does hurt. Losing those metal extractors, losing some wind turbines. Constructor gonna have to get back to work, and Resbot in a little bit of trouble, but the ticks do manage to get away. All right, very close call right there. Psychos with loads of metal extractors to claim right here. They're all 1.1, 0.9, and 1.1. Not worth much. Not worth much at all. But it's better to have them than not. This is the other important feature about this map, of course. It has a 5.0 metal extractor and 2 geothermals up here. You can imagine a Cerberus cannon on either of these geothermal spots would be devastating. And then this 5.0 metal extractor. That's 20 metal per second if you manage to get a T2 metal extractor up on that spot. Nice defense over here on the right-hand side. Glad to see that we're deflecting a lot of the aggression over here. Similarly, though, left-hand side deflecting all this quite nicely as well. Not so much damage in the backline right here for the blue team, so definitely a slightly better opening for the red team. Not altogether the end of the world. We did have a little bit of a thief over here, by the way. This Resbot went over and ate all the rocks over on this side of the map. Cheeky, eating up some of those resources from the other team. It's a little victory, a moral victory, if any, or a morale victory, if anything else. So it was different. I think this was the same word. Anyway, pronounced completely differently, but somehow I take them to mean different things. I wonder if they are different words. English, isn't it a fun language? Still a heavy investment on the ticks right here. That's one thing I have noticed from the pros recently, is that they overemphasize the use of the tick here. I mean, I say overemphasize relative to my own gameplay, I suppose, is what I mean to compare it to. But they certainly use quite a few more ticks than I would normally see out on the battlefield. Definitely makes a lot of sense, though. They offer quite a lot of vision radius and can allow you to jump on top of some of those swifter units like some of those slower units like the aggravators or rocketeers, anything like that. You can start to do good damage against them and start to really dismantle those compositions if you have enough ticks to really overwhelm them. It does take quite a few. Maces coming out to the battlefield. An expensive army coming up right here for 8D. Going to be going into maces, rocketeers, eventually some more constructors too. Trying to gradually improve the army composition here one by one. It's a slow uphill battle. Speaking of uphill battles, Governor trying to fight against Despera here. Reclaiming some of that wreckage and going to be trying to fight up this hill. It's a tricky battle though. Yeah, not gonna commit right here. Is our Seafoam Green Commander deciding to fall back for the time being and just set up some more of those LLTs. Regeki also setting up some LLTs as well as some build power up here. Build power probably mostly just to repair troops on the front line, but of course it's nice for keeping, for instance, some of these static defense towers up and running as well. Aggravators firing away over here. Stardom using the commander as the HP soak in the front, the HP sponge. D-Guns cutting apart a lot of those units over here as well. Using the aggravators in the back to fire away, using that enhanced vision radius of the commander to fire those rockets at extra long range. No goals. Thinking about a dive. Yeah, we're thinking about diving on the commander. We've started the self-destruct sequence. Ooh, a little bit early here, though. Self-destruct goes off and Stardom escapes essentially unscathed. 58% remaining on that red commander. Gonna be more than happy with the way that trade went, though. Regeki moving into position to try and reclaim as much of this as possible here. I wouldn't be surprised if Stardom just goes ahead and goes for the D-Gun just to deny that wreckage, or as much of it as possible. Tix jumping on top of the commander. Nicely done right there by the red and blue, or pardon me, by the blue and lavender commanders right here. Shutting down the red commander, denying that D-Gun. That's a huge play over here on the left-hand side. Gonna be sending tons and tons of metal to Regeki. You can see it all being funneled around right here as the blue commander starts to send that back to the backliners. Orlani goes for a T2 lab right here, using those metal donations to go ahead and fund it. We need a little bit more, and that's exactly what the second commander that just went down is going to be used for. This should catapult the blue team directly into T2. We see T2 already up and running right here for the orange commander, who did sacrifice their own commander in order to get it. But now that we've sacrificed now that we've captured the metal from two commanders up on the front lines, of course we're more than capable of just, eating up our own commander at a later date, using it to fund more T2 units, or even T2 constructors. Obviously paying for your T2 transition with your enemy's corpse rather than your own. Yeah, gonna be quite a bit better. Pawns running by right here. Nicely deflected though. Yeah, Grunt's good on top of all that. Rocketeers trying to push forward right now as well. Having a hard time pushing past that commander though. Obviously gonna be really difficult. AT caught in a tricky situation here. Lightning turret doing its best, blasting apart as many of those T1 grunts as possible. It is doing a decent job, but AT's commander is so low. A single rocket at this point would bring it down 1% HP on that commander. My goodness. The footwork on this commander is immaculate. But eventually, the arthritis caught up with the green commander, bringing it low as its footwork could no longer keep up with speed. And just like that, AT's valiant hold over the center section was not met with any reinforcements from his allies, and so it does mean that green commander falls. Aspera going to inherit the 5 metal per second metal extractor right here. We desperately need a T2 metal extractor on that spot. Catapulting your economy forward. 20 metal per second is more than enough to start up T2 production, full-blown T2 production. Not skimpy T2 production, like actual 100% T2 production. Yeah, with that commander no longer on the front line, this becomes so much harder for the red player to hold. Doesn't have the vision radius or anything like that you would normally get out of the commander. Doesn't have the radar range either. This has become a nightmare right here as the Rocketeers begin to push forward. These are just the residual T1 troops. This is what's left over until we get that T2 transition up and running. It's the point in the match where you can start to think about maybe going ahead and eating up your T1 units, because you know they're not going to be very valuable much longer. Hounds have already started to dismantle them really efficiently here. Every time one of those hounds connects, it can be a huge pain. We never took the geothermal here. That's surprising. Yeah, no geothermal ever captured right here by the red commander. Definitely feels like a misplay. Might have been too busy commanding on the front lines, microing all those troops and whatnot. Forgot about how valuable that geothermal might have been. Obviously hard to find the energy to fund a geothermal either, but at least on this map there's tons of trees, so you can always sort of cheese your way into it by just building 6 or 7 res bots and sending those out on the field. It's about 50 energy per res bot while they're reclaiming, so you can definitely give your economy a artificial boost by just reclaiming a whole bunch of those worthless trees. Produce that horrible oxygen stuff. Nobody needs any of that anymore, though. Now that we have all become steel. The strength and purity of steel, or whatever it is. The techno priests. Zyka's still holding the front lines with the commander. Honestly, I think it's time this commander to just abandon the front line. We could pull it back and sacrifice it for the metal, or we could just park it in a key position just in case there's any T3 run-bys. Wouldn't be surprised if we see a killer T3 transition here, just to try and take advantage of a little bit of tempo. Yeah, got official in a good position for it. You can see T2 units being produced in mass right here, but I wouldn't be surprised if we just go for a fusion reactor, maybe even a geothermal, an advanced geothermal, and go for straight into a T3. We've seen Marauder plays that hinge around having an advanced geothermal, right? That was really popular on Supreme Isthmus and still is very popular on Supreme Isthmus. Just as a strategy in general, you just go for the advanced geothermal that allows you enough power production to get Marauder up and running. Relatively cheap in the metal and energy department, so you can oftentimes get away with it. But of course, that does work on virtually any map that has a geothermal. This map has plenty of them. Aspera is still setting up static defenses. Similarly, I would like to see these geothermals taken. I feel like they really could be useful. Hound numbers are growing over here on the left-hand side. Geothermal underway right now for Regeki, trying to capture this. This geothermal will be a nice boost right here. At this point, the economy is looking fabulous, but obviously an extra 300 energy per second is going to be wonderful. As soon as this starts churning out energy, I think starting up T2 production makes a lot of sense. We've gotten the T2 metal extractors up and running. We're starting to upgrade all these. The economy itself is going to start booming. But for the time being, these T2 units are having a field day right now. Definitely a scary position. I'll go ahead and switch over to the red team's perspective so you can see exactly what they see. And what they see is a whole lot of nothing. Yeah. Centurions waddling forward, Hounds also marching forward on a fight command here. Just making sure that we don't overstep our boundary. You never know if you're going to accidentally wander into a commander or something like that and get yourself degunned. The commander right there. Sure is. Zykas' commander moving around. We're trying to keep it cloaked with the radar jammer here, just to make sure those Hounds don't see it, but the splash damage will eventually take them out. Ooh, Hounds, they do sniff out that commander. D-Gun takes down one of the Hounds right there, but certainly not enough for them to shut down this push. Lightning turret's up and running right now, being repaired by the construction, or by the, construction bot and the commander over here. Trying to stay alive. Zykas' commander goes down. Bombers here to take out the metal extractor. Lovely play. Definitely worth it. Yeah, lightning turret's doing some good work here, actually. Lightning turrets have very low range, is their major trade-off. But they do superb damage. At this point, the front line is starting to fall right here for the blue team. T2 units are starting to come out. Tons and tons of Hounds underway right now from the Cyan commander, who is starting to send them out to the battlefield. But we need them across so many different spaces here. Governor is going to need T2 support here immediately as well. No T2 bot was ever handed out over here, so we are failing to propagate that T2 through the blue team right now. Yeah, the red team's T2 propagation has been a whole lot better. You can see the metal extractors in the backline basically all upgraded to T2. The Maroon Commander, the only one without T2 right now. And I think that's fair enough. We are still fighting T1 on the front line here. But as soon as those T2s start to come over in this direction, we do need to see that transition towards T2 eventually. Getting the metal extractor up and running, though, is really important. This metal extractor singularly could upgrade the entire Maroon economy to T2. In fact, let's just take a look at it right now. 9 metal per second. So you can imagine going from 9 metal per second to 29 metal per second. Yeah, not bad. Not bad whatsoever. Hounds here with the defensive advantage for Olani Zykas, the Cyan commander, going up against the Orange Bear. He's had these Hounds out for a while. They were getting some good value, but they've sort of petered off here as T2 tends to go, as any tech transition tends to go. The first couple of units are much more impactful than basically all the rest. Flame turret right here, having a blast. Burning down some of these Hounds in brown. Accidentally rhymed it. Means you know it's true. Oh, we're going for an advanced geo up here. What a risky play. 2 or 3 volleys from this army of hounds right here would obliterate that advanced geo in a heartbeat. And we've all seen exactly what happens when an advanced geo goes up in flames right next to all your precious units. Things tend to get messy quick. AD going for a T2 transition right now. T2 knocking on the door and going for a T2 transition. I think if this army was a little bit more aggressive right here for the hot pink commander, probably would be able to push forward right now and do some serious damage. Not the case though. Hound's missing their shots against this heavy laser turret too. Heavy laser turret's not really supposed to win against hounds. They are effectively the counter to them. Hounds, that is. Fat boy coming up. Tick set on a repeat command. Or a patrol command here. Just to move back and forth right now, so they're harder to hit, but also granting vision. Not a bad idea. Fat boy now firing away on the front, though. Going to be dangerous. Once that fat boy starts getting to work, it can really chip away at that army quick. Hounds. Even some of the heavier units like welders. They really suffer at the hands of that plasma spitter. Let's take an up close look. Grab some cinematic shots real quick. It's beautiful. Nice row of hounds sticking their tails in the air, firing away whenever they can. I love the theming of the hound. What a thematic unit. Hound and Sheldon definitely makes it for a very potent combo here as well. We do see Sheldon production ripping and roaring right now from the red commander, who has made a Cortex transition. Because the Sheldon fire so much faster than the Hound, it means that they can deal with spam a little bit easier. And then the Hound do superior single target damage. You actually get kind of a dream team out of it, surprisingly enough. Yeah, I think Quetex? The tank commander, has got to be pretty happy with the way this is going on the right-hand side. More than happy with holding this line where he is right now. Just going to be thrilled to continue improving the economy, certainly. We're starting to stockpile metal, and I wonder if it might be a good time to go ahead and invest in some proper economy. Maybe going into a fusion reactor or something like that. We're just spamming out ticks right now. It's a very cheap option. It means that we're going to be able to save up quite a lot of metal. This T2 transition has been so slow for the Maroon Commander. If there's one point that the red team has fallen behind on, it's the single T2 transition lane for the Maroon Commander. Other than that, though, looking fabulous everywhere else on the map. Hound firing away as far as it can. Still loads of T1 units right here, by the way. That's nearly 3,000 metal worth of thugs. Definitely worth starting to consider eating all those up. No reason to keep those on the battlefield anymore now that T2 is prevalent. Just go ahead and eat them up, turn them into T2 units, or better yet, turn them into a fusion reactor. You've nearly got the entire cost of a fusion reactor in T1 units. You might as well just turn them into some better economy. Economy that can produce thugs per second. Quite easily. Rattlesnake coming up on the high ground. This is a really nice position for a rattlesnake here. Would love to see these turned into Cerberus, like I said earlier. Bit of an agitator up here as well. That's interesting. Not likely to get much value at this point in the game. But at the very least, it is annoying to deal with. There we go. Rattlesnake now firing away. Actually firing away quite far. Yeah, can reach well into the backline here. Starting to pop some constructors, some of the wind turbines, all that good stuff. So you can't quite fire it exactly where it's aimed at. There we go. Wind turbines, chain reacting. Blowing up a huge portion of the energy economy right here for the Green Commander. Somehow we've stuck a T1 constructor in that lab. That's a bit strange. Czar cries out the hot pink commander. Not quite. Not quite. Close, though. Essentially the Armada equivalent to the Czar. The fat boy. Firing away. Doing tons and tons of damage. Pink General in a lot of trouble now. What was that? 30, 20, 29 damage? 21 damage? Yeah, 21 damage. Math is hard. 21 damage there to Pink General per lob of the Fat Boy. dismantling that T1 army like it's nothing. And it's the exact reason why it's so important that you go ahead and invest in T2 as soon as possible. T2 unit's going to shrug off that fat boy a little bit easier. T1 unit's just going to evaporate into a puff of smoke, a whisper, as if there were nothing there at all. Sharpshooter out and available here for Orlani. Made a nice transition towards those sniper bots. If we can manage to get some killer connections with those sniper bots, over time they can whittle down these armies really, really nicely. Every time they click their rifles, something pops. Just really want to spend it on, yeah, anything but the ticks. We need Juno missiles up here to clear away the tick spam. Welders in front right here, an excellent addition. Orlani doing a nice job controlling all this, keeping the welders in front to make sure that they clear out the spam so it never gets to the sharpshooters. But if you keep the welders a little bit further forward, then they'll actually get rid of the spam before the sharpshooters waste their shots on it and make them really, really viable. Fat Boy here has been invaluable. My goodness. Tearing apart these forces over on the right-hand side. Rattlesnake definitely being annoying, firing away still at these units, forcing them to kind of take a weird off angle. But definitely not the end of the world. Massive Hound Bull over on the right-hand side. Ah, the passivity right here from the red team is definitely buying time for the blue team to get back into this game. I do see tons of bombers have been saved up over here, by the way. A couple of blizzards. Built in the backline and saved right now for a killer bombing run. Yeah, go, go, go. I think these hounds need to march forward. The red team failing to scout right now, and I think it's really biting them in the rear. They have a little bit of radar vision, so they can see where some of these bases are, but don't exactly know what they're fighting into. You don't know that they have overwhelming numbers. Could probably overwhelm vast majorities of this map by just pushing forward right now. There it is, 20 metal per second. So converting 20 energy to 20 metal per second is criminally efficient. Couple of tumbleweeds rolling forward. That's precious. Tumbleweeds are, they have one very specific use, and it's diving into shallow water to blow up boats. It's their one efficient use case. Here we go. Bombers going across the map. Fighting the advanced geo. You know what? As nice as it is to take down that advanced geo, I can't help but feel like maybe targeting this base down first wouldn't have been the worst idea. The geothermal is the guaranteed damage, and it's almost always better in virtually any RTS to go for the guaranteed damage. But it does feel like there was a little bit more potential to shut down the red commander a little bit harder by just going ahead and bombing the base. Either way, shutting down that energy production does cripple them quite severely. Going from, what would it be, about 1,700 energy just down to 500 hurts quite a lot. Pitbull here firing away whenever it can. Trying to hit some of those fiends, marching forward. Houndball dealing with the repercussions of a tick swarm running directly towards them. We do have welders in the mix right here, but they're not up front, which is a little bit of an oversight. A miss micro right there. Welders in front, and those ticks never see the hounds in the first place. Hounds in the front. Your army is dead. Fun fact about the welders, they're essentially immune to their own chain reaction, their own lightning chain reaction. In fact, they're immune to virtually any chain damage from lightning. Learned that from Hornet during one of the live streams we did. Apparently makes them quite a good counter to Thors. I never had any idea. The more you know. I'm wondering if we have any pinpointers here, because I am starting to see quite a lot of sharpshooters on the battlefield here. I don't see any immediately in the vicinity here. There's a little bit of a detonation in the backline over here. That was eventually cleared up, though. There's the T3 transition. Marauders being produced right here by the blue commander. Gonna go ahead and start spamming out some of those fast assault boys. Boom goes the base of Street. Losing it to a bunch of ticks spamming in from this direction. Definitely uncomfortable. There's the Razorbacks. A heavy investment in Razorbacks right here from God Official, looking to close out this game. Decided to send the Razorbacks through the middle of the map and into the main base of AD. Nicely done. Skirting around the commander's D-gun range right there. directly into the backline. That is a killer move right there from God Official, the hot pink commander. Really nicely done. Winterbine's falling. Razorback just having a good time. Blasting down whatever he can. Commanders included. McDonough in a lot of trouble here as well. Yeah. The blue team had so much time to bounce back into this game, but weren't able to really capitalize on it. The tick spam at the end of the day being such a nuisance. Geothermal in trouble now. Geothermal in a lot of trouble. Boom goes the geothermal well, not battery, the geothermal production facility for the powder blue commander. Oh, an LRPC shot too, directly into the main base. This is not looking good for the blue team. I think these Marauder needed to be on the other side of the map 5 minutes ago. Here they go. Can they do enough damage to upset the balance of this entire right-hand side collapsing? It's gonna have to be massive. Oh, mines were laid. Mines were laid over here. Cheeky. Interesting. Twitchers used to lay mines over here. Lovely, lovely play. And I think it's more than enough to shut down these Marauders. Geothermal pops as well, taking down tons of those Marauders with it. What an excellent play right there by the red team leader. Stardom using those Twitchers to lay a bunch of mines in the path of those Marauder right here. Another one still trying to sneak around the edge. What excellent map awareness right here from Stardom. Realizing that those Marauders would try and skirt around the edge and then placing some landmines over here. What a really, really awesome play. Razorback's still alive over here, by the way. Blasting apart whatever it can. T2 Lab will fall. E-storage, sure. Wind turbines, just as well. Just like that. The ticks sprinting headfirst into the backlines. I think the ticks have done it. The overwhelming tick spam eventually breaking its way into the backline, just popping the base right here of the powder blue commander, knocking out air production, opening up the opportunity for those Razorbacks to run by, crippling the right-hand side, forcing an all-in. We do have a Razorback over here, by the way. Yeah, Razorback pretty good. Ooh, Spybot almost got off the EMP detonation. Didn't manage to, though. Razorback pulls back for just a moment to try and clear out some of that chaff. Sharpshooters here as well to blast down some of those sturdier structures. Razorback's so good, but also sometimes their targeting can be a little bit strange. Yeah. Most efficient against the chaff, but sometimes, well, most times they'll target the healthiest thing in the vicinity. There we go. Definitely a lot of damage over there on the left-hand side. Isn't enough to offset the crazy amount of damage right here. On the right, though. I feel no pain anymore, cries out AD. And indeed, it'll be the red team that claims victory in today's match. What an excellent showcase of fundamentals. Using the right unit at the right time, continuing to scale the economies. I feel like the red team just had an overwhelming advantage most of this map. I really thought the blue team was going to be able to come back once that T3 transition hit stride over here on the left-hand side, but the overwhelming tick spam was never properly addressed. No mass Juno, no mass welder, nothing like that in order to effectively counter those. And eventually it meant the red team slowly but surely overwhelmed the blue in this match of Beyond All Reason. Thanks a ton for watching, and I sure hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the very next game. Peace out, everybody.